it was 73 degrees at 9 p.m. in my house and 5 below zero at his house. All right. So, but he was talking about what he had just seen on True last night. He called just to talk about it. And I brought up somebody named Vladimir Zhirinovsky. He was a Russian politician. He died last year, I think, of COVID. But he was a wild one. Okay, he was a member of the Duma, had a big following in Russia, kind of the working man's Donald Trump.
Okay.
He didn't have the money, but he had
the attitude.
The attitude. You know, he had swag. So I brought him up, and my friend Nate said, Rick, what I'm hearing from you is the Russians have already used the Poseidon. They've already tested it. So I'm going to walk you through this, and I'm going to show you what my friend Nate and I came to the realization last night, that the Russians have already tested this on a country. We're going to start with an article. This is March 2011. Doc, I remember reporting this on True News. Doc, if you go back and find the, well, let's see, March 8, 2011.
So probably March 9th.
If you found the 8th or 9th of March 2011 episode of True News, you'll hear me talking about this story. I clearly remember this story. I knew where to go get it today to bring it back. It was stuck in my head. I remembered this story very clearly. Japan must develop nuclear weapons, warns Tokyo governor. And this was the politician at that time, the governor of Tokyo, was a hardliner. He wanted to rebuild Japan's military empire.
Now, and remember, in that time frame for our audience, we were still a long ways off from even considering rebuilding Japan's military. Now we're full throttle into it.
Oh, yes.
Japan and the U.S. just 2 weeks ago signed brand new defense agreements.
Yes, that was a very radical statement. But Doc, he didn't say Japan needs an army.
No.
He said Japan needs nuclear weapons.
Right.
And then he named the countries that they would use them on.
Yes. So Tokyo's outspoken governor says his country, which suffered history's only nuclear attack, should build nuclear weapons to counter the threat from fast-rising China. In an interview with The Independent, Shintaro Ishihara said Japan could develop nuclear weapons within a year and send a strong message to the world. So he goes on to say all our enemies, China, North Korea, and Russia, all close neighbors, have nuclear weapons. Is there another country in the world in a similar situation? Now, something for our audience to realize, too, is technically Russia and Japan are still fighting World War II.
Yes, they've never settled World War II.
Right.
And
now,
we heard that with our own ears ourselves again at the St. Petersburg meeting back in 2018. And it was the first time I was aware that World War II has not been settled.
Right, and it all hinges on the Kuril Islands, and that has not been settled.
Because Shinzo Abe was on the stage, and Putin and Shinzo Abe, who got assassinated last year.
Right.
But Putin and Shinzo Abe were talking about,
hey, let's settle
let's
this.
just settle World War II. Let's get an
right
agreement.
now.
Yes, let's do it right now.
Let's settle it right now.
Yeah. So in this 2011 article, the governor of Tokyo, Mr. Ishihara, called Russia an enemy.
Right.
He said, we need nuclear weapons. And then he said, Japan can have nuclear weapons within a year. How could that be, Doc?
The U.S. would give it to them.
No, I don't believe so.
Or they develop their own?
Yes. This is where I'm going with this. I believe what he leaked out was their capability of producing nuclear warheads rapidly.
Now I know where you're going.
You
with
get
all
it?
this. Yes.
You see the drift where we're going?
Yes. So,
All right, so he says all our enemies, China, North Korea, Russia, have nuclear weapons. He goes, the article says the right-wing governor added that a nuclear-armed Japan would also win more respect from Russia, which seized 4 Japanese-owned islands during the Second World War. That's the thing, that the Kuril Islands that we heard Putin and Shinzo Abe talking about on stage. Goes on and says, and he advised his constitutionally pacifist nation to scrap restrictions on the manufacture and sale of weapons. Quote, we should develop sophisticated weapons and sell them abroad. Japan made the best fighters in the world before America crushed the industry. We could get that back. Well, what brought about the crushing of that industry?
war.
Yeah, Pearl Harbor, okay? Now, let's remember the date of that article, March
9th.
8th.
Oh, yeah, March 8th.
March 8, 2011. Now, the next one is a short video, and the date is March 11, 2011. 3 days later. Let's watch.
All across northern Japan, they felt it. A violent magnitude 9.0 earthquake on March 11, 2011. It was centered about 80 miles offshore, and tsunami warnings went up immediately. In coastal cities, people knew what to do next: run to higher ground. It's from these vantage points on hills and in tall buildings that incredible footage was captured. In Kesanuma, people retreated to a high-rise rooftop and could only watch in horror as tsunami waves inundated their city, knocking buildings into rubble and mixing into a kind of tsunami soup filled with vehicles, building parts, and contents. Seawater cascaded over sea walls and into cities. This video shows the water rushing over an 18-foot seawall into Kamaishi City. The seawall here was the world's deepest and largest, but not enough for the magnitude of the March 11 disaster. It was the largest quake ever known in Japan, and one of the 5 largest recorded in the world. More than 28,000 people are confirmed dead or missing.
That was March 11th, 2011.
3 days after the governor of Tokyo said Russia is an enemy, and we must have nuclear weapons to deal with Russia, and we can have them within 1 year. Where would they get the uranium to make nuclear warheads? From a nuclear power plant.
Yes.
Called Fukushima. Where am I going with this? I think the Russians tested their weapon.
A smaller version.
A smaller version that was not radioactive. They produced an earthquake and a tsunami.
Well, now, it could have been radioactive, because what better way to hide the radioactivity than to say that the nuclear power plant, because it's still spewing out radiation to this day, right?
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Now, we're going to take it one more level. So I mentioned Mr. Zhirinovsky, Vladimir Zhirinovsky. He was a flamboyant, colorful Russian politician. He died last year from COVID. Again, Doc, this is a video. We didn't show the video because when this happened in 2011, we were a radio show, podcast. So I couldn't show it, but I remember watching the video online, and I knew exactly where to go find it today. I found it last night because I remember in 2011, Zhirinovsky, he did this Russian television news interview, and he was drunk. He was drunk. His tie was open. His shirt was open. He was looped, and he's running his mouth on live television. And the Russian news presenter was like, whoa, what are you saying? And he was getting wound up, and he said some things. I don't think he was supposed to say it unless he was given the green light. If they gave him a bottle of vodka and said, go on television and say it. But I heard it, and I made note of it, and I reported it on True News in March of 2011. Here is that Russian TV interview.
При этом Вашингтон не имеет будущего, Америка искусственное государство рухнет, Европа старая, так сказать, уже континент, который никакой роли не играет, Китай на пороге взрыва. И остается космическая держава Россия с огромными деньгами, ресурсами и новым оружием, о котором еще никто не знает. Любую часть планеты уничтожим в течение 15 минут. Ни одного взрыва, ни одного, так сказать, всплеска, там, луча какого-то лазерного, там, молния. Нет, тихо, спокойненько. Целые континенты будут спать вечным сном.
А может, вы нам
И всё
подробнее
останется,
расскажете, как вы
природа
собираетесь
останется
это
легонькой,
делать?
все остальное. Вот цунами сейчас, Япония. Вы Курилы хотели? Вот вы будете разбирать обломки всех ваших зданий. И сдохните все 120 миллионов, если вы еще потребуете Курила от нас. Так и все остальные пусть подумают о своем будущем. О своем будущем пусть думают. Тоже мне еще грузинские вина или там какие-то наблюдатели. А не хотите, чтобы забыли слово Грузия в мире? И будет русско-турецкая граница. Вот подумайте, пускай Саакашвили об этом. То цунами будет другое. В другой части Кавказа.
There was a lot in that statement. That was just part of the interview. That was the juiciest part. How many things did you catch in that statement?
Well, that the Russians were developing weapons that haven't even been revealed yet. But when he made that slip about the tsunami, remember that tsunami, here last week? So he said there will be another tsunami on the other side of the world at some point.
Right.
So basically, he's saying Russia caused the tsunami. That's what I'm hearing.
That's exactly what he said. He said we have secret weapons that can put continents to sleep forever. Put an entire continent to sleep. How do you do that? Well, a radioactive tsunami. Several of them coming in from different angles would put the entire continent to sleep. One would quickly take care of Great Britain. It would take more than one for the United States, but one from the East Coast, the Gulf of Mexico, and the West Coast, what's left? You got the center of the country. It's the only thing that survives. And he said there's going to be another tsunami on the other side of the world. But he mentioned Caucasus, which is, at that time, Obama and Israel, they had a war going in
Right.
Georgia and South Ossetia.
Right. And actually, that interviewer, that was on Georgian television.
Wasn't Russian, it was Georgian?
Georgian television. So he was making an appearance on Georgian television, so that brings that back around to the Caucasus there.
Should we play that again? Because
It'd probably be a good idea, so
Yeah.
our audience can really absorb, because there's a ton of information in
Yeah.
what he said.
yes, this time don't look at his face and his actions and his hands. Just read the English subtitles and absorb what he threatened.
При этом Вашингтон не имеет будущего, Америка искусственное государство рухнет, Европа старая, так сказать, уже континент, который никакой роли не играет, Китай на пороге взрыва. И остается космическая держава Россия с огромными деньгами, ресурсами и новым оружием, о котором еще никто не знает. Любую часть планеты уничтожим в течение 15 минут. Ни одного взрыва, ни одного, так сказать, всплеска, там, луча какого-то лазерного, там, молния. Нет, тихо, спокойненько. Целые континенты будут спать вечным сном.
А может, вы нам
И всё
подробнее
останется,
расскажете, как вы
природа
собираетесь
останется
это
легонькой,
делать?
все остальное. Вот цунами сейчас, Япония. Вы Курилы хотели? Вот вы будете разбирать обломки всех ваших зданий. И сдохните все 120 миллионов, если вы еще потребуете Курила от нас. так и все остальные пусть подумают о своем будущем. О своем будущем пусть думают. Тоже мне еще грузинские вина и там какие-то наблюдатели. Они хотят, чтобы забыли слово «Грузия» в мире. И будет русско-турецкая граница. Вот подумайте, пускай Саакашвили об этом. То цунами будет другое. В другой части Кавказа.
Population in Japan in 2011 was 120 million. So he was making the case.
We'll take out all of Japan.
Yes, you want to fight us over the Kuril Islands? We'll take all of you out.
Now, that interview was, I believe it was March. May of 2011.
So two months after the tsunami in
Yes.
Japan.
And he connected the tsunami to Russian secret weapons. So if this is true, if he let something out, and whether intentionally or simply because he was drunk, the point is, excuse me, the Russians experimented with this tsunami weapon and took out Fukushima, which hundreds of thousands of people died.
Right. And they're still dealing with the radioactivity to this day. Rick, do you think Japan was already developing nuclear weapons at Fukushima?
Yes, yes. They had to be. If the governor of Tokyo was confident that they would have nuclear warheads in 1 year.
Because you just don't start a nuclear weapons program and a year later have a nuke. I mean, it takes years of development. You've got...
Okay, so Doc, if the Iranian leader said today, we're going to have nukes in 1 year, would the Israelis take them out immediately?
Absolutely. You know they would.